The first star disappeared at 9:42 p.m. Lena noticed it by accident. She was sitting on the hood of her car outside her childhood home, staring up at the sky like she used to when life felt simpler. The town was too quiet for a summer night. No crickets chirping, no wind rustling the leaves. Just the low, almost imperceptible hum of power lines overhead. Then a star blinked, and it was gone. Lena frowned, sitting up straighter. Clouds? No, the sky was a perfect inky black canvas, completely clear. The rest of the stars remained sharp and brilliant, scattered like spilled diamonds. At 9:47, another one vanished, just like the first. Then another. They weren't fading. They weren't dimming or being obscured. It was like someone was flipping a switch, turning them off one by one. A cold knot tightened in her stomach. This wasn't right. This felt fundamentally wrong. Her phone buzzed, the vibration startlingly loud in the dead silence. It was a text from Mark, her astronomy-obsessed friend from college. The message was just 2 words. "You seeing this?" Before she could even type a reply, her screen lit up with a string of new messages from a group chat she hadn't looked at in months. The alerts came in fast, one after another, a frantic cascade of digital panic. People were noticing. Everyone was noticing. A notification from a news app popped up. Global phenomenon. Astronomers baffled as stars begin to disappear. The universe felt like it was shrinking. The familiar constellations she'd known her whole life were being erased. Cassiopeia lost a point. Orion's belt was suddenly missing a jewel. It was happening faster now. Dozens were vanishing every minute. The hum of the power lines seemed to grow louder. Or maybe it was just the sound of the world holding its breath. Lena's own breath hitched in her throat. She looked down at her phone again, her fingers trembling slightly. Another text from Mark came through, this one longer. "They're not going out. Something is coming in." Lena's eyes darted back to the sky, to the growing patches of absolute, empty blackness. He was right. It wasn't that the lights were going out. It was that something dark was covering them up. Something vast and unimaginable, swallowing the stars as it moved closer. And in that terrifying, silent moment, Lena knew one thing for sure. Humanity was no longer alone, and the night was just beginning. She stood, suddenly feeling a deep sense of unease, and hurried back inside. Her parents' house felt wrong. It was too still, too silent, like the entire building was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. A shiver traced its way down her spine. She glanced at the grandfather clock in the hall. 7:42. Then she looked at the digital clock on the microwave. 3:15. The little alarm clock by her dad's armchair read 11:23. Every single clock showed a different time, each one frozen, stubbornly refusing to tick forward. With a growing knot of dread in her stomach, she grabbed the remote and aimed it at the television. She pressed the power button once, twice, a third time. Nothing. The screen remained a blank, black mirror, reflecting her own worried face. A strange feeling washed over her, a feeling of being completely cut off, isolated. She went to the window, peering out into the twilight. The last sliver of the sun had vanished, and the first stars were beginning to prick the deep velvet of the sky. She stayed there, watching, as the minutes or maybe hours stretched on. She had no way of knowing for sure. At what she guessed was 10:03 p.m., the stars began going out. Not one by one, like a gentle fading, but faster, in clusters. Whole sections of the sky were just blinking out of existence. The darkness that replaced them was a deep, absolute black, leaving jagged, unnatural gaps overhead. It looked like someone had taken a giant eraser and just wiped away pieces of reality itself. Lena pressed her forehead against the cool glass of the window, her heart hammering against her ribs like a trapped bird. The world outside felt alien, terrifyingly wrong. And that's when she saw it. A flicker of movement. Not a bird, not a plane. It was something else. It passed behind the darkness, not in front of it. As if the sky wasn't an endless expanse, but a thin, fragile surface. And something massive, something ancient and incomprehensible, was crawling just beneath it, on the other side. Just then, the silence was shattered by a piercing sound. Her phone was ringing. Her hands trembled as she reached for it, her eyes still locked on the horrifying, crawling emptiness in the sky. She didn't recognize the number. With a deep breath, she answered the call. Relief flooded her. "Mom?" Static answered. Then her mother's voice came through strained, distant. "Lena," she whispered. "Are you looking at the sky?" "Yes. What's happening?" A sob broke through the line. "Don't let it know you can see it." And then the call cut off. The house lights flickered, then died. Outside, the street lights went dark one by one, a wave of blackness receding into the distance like falling dominoes. An eerie silence fell over the neighborhood, broken only by the sound of doors opening up and down the street. Neighbors stepped out onto their lawns, their faces upturned, drawn by a mix of curiosity and a deep primal fear. Then someone screamed. Lena peered through her window, her heart pounding against her ribs. She saw Mr. Hanley from across the road, pointing frantically at the empty sky. "I see it," he shouted, his voice cracking with a strange mix of terror and awe. "It's right there." He didn't get to finish. The darkness above him seemed to shift, to ripple. Something vast and unseen unfolded from the void where the stars used to be. Mr. Hanley lifted off the ground without a sound, his body rising as if weightless. He didn't struggle. He didn't fall. He was simply pulled upward, his limbs stretching at impossible, unnatural angles as he vanished into the black space. Then, just as quickly, the sky closed behind him, seamless and whole again, as if swallowing him into nothingness. Screaming erupted from every house on the street. Pure, unadulterated panic. Lena stumbled back from the window, her body shaking uncontrollably. She couldn't process what she had just witnessed. It defied all logic, all reality. The image of Mr. Hanley, stretched and broken, was burned into her mind. Her phone buzzed in her hand, the vibration a violent jolt against her skin. She looked down at the screen, her breath catching in her throat. It was her mom calling again. With a trembling finger, she answered, pressing the phone to her ear. The line was silent for a moment. Then she heard that same strained whisper. "Lena, it knows." What happens next? Follow for part 2. You won't want to miss it.